One of the big questions is,
what is money?
For practical purposes, it exists in a series of heterogeneous databases, very different databases.
do you believe in crypto?
Digital currency may be an answer, but it is the highly speculative asset.
I do own Bitcoin.
There is no second best.
Welcome to the Crypto Curious podcast, your weekly crypto crash course. Every Wednesday, join us in the dynamic world of cryptocurrency as we cover everything from major news stories to short, sharp news bites. If you're new to crypto, we recommend starting with our early episodes where we break down the basics and give you a solid foundation to understand the crypto world. Tune in, laugh and learn. It's crypto made easy. This week on the show, FTX billions. The FTX customers are finally set to get their money back, but not everyone is happy with the plan. Satoshi's HBO movie. Could the mystery of Bitcoin's creator finally be revealed in an upcoming HBO documentary? And a mover and shaker of the week, we spotlight an AI token that's seen a massive 164% surge in just 30 days. My name's Tracy and I'm joined by my mates Blake and Craig as we deliver this week's crypto news. Hey guys, how you going?
Good, Trace. Great to be back. Watching the markets bounce around.
Going good, Trace. Trump's in the lead, so I'm feeling bullish for crypto and just sitting on my hands till November, really.
That seems to be everyone at the moment, but I did read somewhere that it didn't really matter at the moment, they reckon, for crypto, whether either of them got in. It's going to be a good outcome regardless, probably a little bit more positive due to his transparency on policy promises to Trump, but they reckon it doesn't really matter who gets in, it's still going to be great for crypto. Agree?
Well, Trump's an influencer now, chilling DeFi shitcoins, so, bullish.
All right, we don't need to talk about the markets too much because not too much has happened in 7 days. October hasn't really started yet. We have gone sideways. So we'll crack into our first story, guys. And what we did bring to you last week was a little bit in the FTX saga, but there's been another big update. After nearly 2 years of bankruptcy proceedings, a judge has approved FTX bankruptcy plan, which means customers will finally be getting their money back. This is actually official. FTX has recovered $16 billion and users are set to receive at least 119% of their account's US dollar value as of November 2022, was when this all happened. So there's some mixed reactions here. Guys, what's your take on this, Blake? Is this going to create some drama in the markets?
Obviously, people are going to be annoyed because the FTX creditors sold a lot of the tokens at discount and at the bottom of the market. And as a result, they lost the upside that they would have had if they were returned the tokens. But the creditors, their debt was denominated in dollars, not in crypto. And as a result, they're getting returned cash. And I would be very surprised if half of this $16 billion doesn't re-enter the market in time for the bull run.
So, Craig, with lots of money set to return into the market, do you think it'll shake up the space? What happened with, obviously, Mt. Gox and their repayments? What are you thinking?
Yeah, well, firstly, if I'm an FTX customer, I'm stoked that I'm getting something back on my account. All the exchanges throughout the years, Cryptopia, Mt. Gox, years ago that they've went under and users never got their money back. Even Mt. Gox, 10 years later, they get it back. So if I'm an FTX user, I'm stoked, firstly. Secondly, the Mt. Gox repayment, I think, is a little bit different because, as we know, that was the biggest exchange in the world and Bitcoin was like under $1,000 when that went under. So there was a lot of heavy hands involved with the Mt. Gox repayment. I don't think FTX's, not unlock, I should say, return to customers will be viewed as bearish. It probably might be viewed as a little bit bullish for the market, considering November 2022 was like Bitcoin and Ethereum were pretty much similar prices to what they are now, probably a little bit under. So we'll just wait and see. I guess one of the uncertainties here is when will the users actually get their funds? That hasn't been disclosed yet. So I guess, could we see a bit of a FTX revival here? Has that been talked about at all?
I was going to ask, Blake, where do they get their funds to?
I think it's being administered through Kraken and Coinbase from memory, but I might be mistaken.
Is FTX planning to return or are they just finished?
No, I think that they put it out for bid and there were some people that were trying to acquire the tech platform, but nothing ever came of it. So I don't think FTX is coming back as a brand. If it is relaunched, it would be definitely under a different brand, but I haven't heard anything around that.
Interesting. Because imagine all the infrastructure they would have set up to spin something up again.
Maybe under a different brand. Yeah, look. But this is a huge step forward for those FTX customers finally getting their money back, like you said. But there will be some impacts to the market. And what we do know is that this case has now set a precedent for crypto bankruptcy proceedings. As the funds do return to the users, we'll watch closely to see if there are any effects across the crypto space, especially if there's some large amounts being cashed out, which you would hope get reinvested into the market. But it's definitely not the last we'll see or hear of FTX, which was 2 years ago next month. Wow. Let's move on to our next story, which has been widely spoken about this week. It's a movie or a documentary. We spoke about it really briefly last week, but there's been a lot more buzz since then. HBO is set to release a documentary called Money Electric, the Bitcoin Mystery. And there's speculation that it could finally unmask the true identity of Satoshi Nakamoto. And this is actually due out today, Tuesday, the 8th of October in the US. Blake, before we get into the details, what do you make of this whole Satoshi identity mystery for our new users out there? Because we could potentially be on the verge of finding out once this doco comes out.
Well, I really like not knowing who Satoshi is because it makes the whole creation story of Bitcoin a little bit mythical, a little bit mysterious, and almost like egoless. Someone's just created this and let it loose into the world. And I think that really adds to the mystique of Bitcoin. But of course, with a mystery, people want to try and find out the details, the truths behind it. I would just let it be, but it is also exciting to watch this unfold. So I'm looking forward to watching this doco.
Yeah, me too. And like you've just said there, what, Craig, do you think the impact would be on the market if we did know who Satoshi is? Do you think that would really change the way that we thought about Bitcoin? Or is it just like Blake said, nice bit of trivia and it's nice to know? What are your thoughts?
There's probably an argument to say if Satoshi was known at the start, could Bitcoin have even gotten the uptake that it did get? I mean, as Blake said, the story, this guy online, cryptography, privacy, messages hidden in blocks, like all these things just told the perfect story to people who were tech heads, libertarians.
Don't we feel like we've got ownership now ourselves because no one really knows?
Pretty much. And like, what are the odds that this asset could be created and this guy in this day and age, guy or girl, can actually stay anonymous? Like, that is insane to me. Can never get my head around it. But could it impact the market? Probably not now. It's $1 trillion asset. I personally love speculating on this. And I've watched countless YouTube docos when you go through the rabbit hole. And to watch this doco, I'm going to be so excited. And just on that, people are betting on...
I was going to say, tell us about everyone else who loves to bet on this as well. What's happening?
Yes. So Polymarket has just been killing it with markets lately. They've actually got a market for who will HBO documentary identify as Satoshi. And it's been so volatile between three frontrunners. So we've got Len Sassaman, who I never heard of, that Tracy, you're quite across him. Adam Black and Nick Szabo. So they're the three top ones. I believe Nick Szabo and Adam Black are still alive, but Len Sassaman, who is the favorite, passed away a few years ago. So who knows? Do you guys have any inkling? What's your guys' thoughts?
Look, I'm thinking Sassaman only because I've seen a lot of press and picture of the movie that show him everywhere. The fact that he passed away not long after, and obviously we know that someone holds the keys with a lot of Bitcoin that hasn't been moved, and he was living for a long time in the UK, and there was a lot of talk about the fact that there was UK phonetics throughout the white paper, some kind of connection there. So,
and Sassaman had a connection with Hal Finney, who received the first ever Bitcoin transaction.
Yeah. And Hal Finney's also passed away, so I'm surprised he's not a front runner here.
Well, you'd think it'd be someone that's passed away, wouldn't it? Yeah. What are your thoughts on Craig Wright, anybody?
There is a market for him. He's less than 1%.
Yeah, just for our listeners' sake, Craig Wright's an Australian gentleman who claims to be the founder of Bitcoin and has tried to copyright the Bitcoin white paper and has spent many years in court fighting, but without any avail.
So whether this documentary really unearths the true identity of Satoshi or just adds another layer of mystery, it's clear that a lot of people are obviously keen to know the truth or at least bet on it. But at the end of the day, I don't think it really matters. Bitcoin is decentralized, and that's the point. It's bigger than any one person or group of people.
But I think we raised a good point earlier, Trace, that what are people actually betting on? Are they betting on the outcome of the movie or the outcome of who is Satoshi?
Yeah, I think for Polymarket, they're just betting on who the movie is going to say it is. But I mean, if there was a betting market to find out who was actually Satoshi, I mean, how are we ever going to know?
Yeah, how are you going to prove it?
But anyway, look, we'll all be watching the documentary, so maybe we'll chat next week when we've all watched it and give you guys a bit of a rundown. Moving on next to our movers and shakers. Everyone loves a crypto pump, and when we see one, we'll feature a cryptocurrency token or project that's gathering attention and popularity in the market. We'll share the reasons why it's on the rise and the utility and value it might hold. This week, we'll take a look at a coin that's not just had a great week, it's had a great month. The name of that token is BitTensor, and it is TAO for the ticker. Boys, what do we know about this one?
Well, BitTensor is an AI coin. It explains itself as a decentralized AI platform. So think of it like an AI coordination network. So rather than creating models like ChatGPT, it offers a transparent network for parties to come together and offer other services. So they're trying to be like the marketplace for AI services and apps, essentially. That's how I would describe it. They have their own chain. They have their own explorer. So I'm guessing that you interact on the BitTensor chain, maybe, potentially. But it is sort of the new flavor of the month. It did have an airdrop famously last year where if you held Tau and you staked it, you got airdrop exposure to all these different new applications launching. But yeah, as you said, Trace, it's been pumping. It's been up over 150% the last month. It's all-time highs within reach.
What's it priced at the moment?
It's currently $613 US.
And do you know much about this one, Blake?
Nothing, mate. I've never heard of this thing. I've seen the ticker Tau. That's about it.
To be honest, I've seen the ticker Tau a few times in my trader group chat. They've been trading it probably all year, but that's all I know about it. But interesting to see here that Grayscale has it in their decentralized AI fund. There you go.
Yeah, and that's a huge deal because Grayscale are seen as sort of the first TradFi company that are moving quickly, and they've got Bitcoin DeFi projects, funds, decentralized DeFi funds, and that AI fund, which they increased Tau's allocation from under 3% to 30%. So that's some pretty big numbers there. So let's see how it goes. But looking at the chart now, I'd be very cautious buying into a pump like this.
Yeah, it does seem very frothy. Obviously, despite the recent gains, some analysts say that there's room for it to grow. It is an AI token, which is the flavour of the decade, I would say, but we'll see where that goes. Don't you hate it when you're CEO and people around you say that you're AI first, Craig? Has your CEO done that to you yet?
Not yet, no.
It's coming, ladies and gents. It's coming.
Okay, folks, let's take a break, and when we come back, it's our short, sharp news bites. Welcome back. You're listening to the Crypto Curious podcast, and it's time for our short, sharp news bites brought to you by the Bamboo app. Before we jump in, though, folks, we want to let you know that Bamboo is returning to the Australian Crypto Convention, which will be in Sydney this year. The dates are the 23rd and 24th of November. So come along if you want to chat with us. We will be doing a live version of the Crypto Curious podcast as well. So get your tickets, folks. We'll put a link in the show notes below for some more details. Let's jump on with the news.
Cool, guys. I'll kick us off. So crypto adoption on track to hit 8% by 2025. Which I'm guessing means that the world's population will now be interacting with cryptocurrency. And I did see somewhere that it's actually outpacing the internet at the same time of launch. Yeah, so good news for us crypto folk. We've got ETFs, we've got adoption going up. And yeah, let's fucking keep it going.
Next up, an Airbnb host bans crypto mining after guest racks up $1,500 electrical bill. So there was an Airbnb in North Carolina, and he's added a new agreement that just no one's allowed to mine cryptocurrency. Obviously, it's very resource intensive mining Bitcoins and can cost up to $40,000 to mine one Bitcoin. The person mining reportedly made $100,000 from their mining activities, which seems like quite a lot from a $1,500 outlay of electricity. either electricity is cheap or they got lucky by hitting a block. I think this is quite funny and probably not the first person to have done this. Yeah.
Swift is launching a live digital assets and currency transaction trial on its network next year. The trial aims to demonstrate how financial institutions can make transactions across different asset types using their existing Swift connections. With its global reach, Swift is very uniquely positioned to interlink digital and traditional finance, so potentially broadening the crypto adoption. Well, obviously, Swift was always going to be the connection here. We'll see how that trial goes next year.
Another one for the DeFi lovers. Aave V3 has surpassed $10 billion in total value locked. So there's a bit of a DeFi resurgence happening now. There's more users returning. I saw the other day that Uniswap revenue is going up, that all these DeFi flavors of the month in the last bull run. Everything's still growing there. So will it come back, do you think?
Yep, 100%.
DeFi's back, baby.
The token prices aren't back.
It's just slowly.
Wow. Craig, this isn't about fundamentals, mate.
Yeah. The price isn't a reflection of the fundamentals.
All right. Next up, on the DeFi strain, Aerodrome, a decentralized exchange on Base, has surpassed $1 billion in total deposits. Establishing itself as a dominant DeFi player, Aerodrome has been a core contributor to pushing Base's TVL across $2 billion. Have you guys used this one?
No.
No? I haven't used it either. I wonder what's going on.
SEC is appealing the Ripple case ruling, citing a conflict with the Supreme Court precedent.
This has been going for a while.
I know, it has been going for a while. They've argued that the decision contradicts long-standing Supreme Court precedents and security laws. The price of Ripple did take a small dip, nothing major. But the Ripple CEO, Brad, he responded that the crypto industry had already won on the key issues. So despite this challenge, he didn't think it was such a big deal. I think they just don't seem to want to get over that case, do they, the SEC?
Yeah, this is a massive one. It really creates precedent. It was a big win for the crypto industry. And no doubt, I think at the time of the ruling, we said that the SEC might appeal this one. And Ripple has more money than the SEC, I would say, so it can fight this and probably keep it in court for years to come.
Guys, to finish us off, so Kraken will end support for Monero in Europe. So Monero is an OG crypto. No doubt you've both used it previously. It's harder to track than Bitcoin. It is actually the most decentralized, secure, privacy-focused. And a lot of exchanges have delisted it. The price dumped 8%, but it's one of the OGs. So Kraken's been in hot water so I'm not surprised that they're just being a bit safe.
This is the currency most used on dark web, dark nets, because you can't actually see where the transaction has come from. You just have it in your wallet, so you can't be traced apparently. So yeah, interesting to watch this one.
It is really interesting because some are focused on speed, and obviously you just said then that Monero's privacy focused. I remember a year ago talking about the fact that this was going to be super important and the privacy tokens were going to do really well, and now they're being delisted. And just above that, I had put another story really quickly. Jesse Pollock, who's the head of Base Layer 2, who's actually been moved up the run further into the Base A team. He believes that privacy is a critical human right and sees its development on Base as a priority for next year. So they're going hard in the privacy side of things as well. So, yeah, that's an unfortunate turn of events for Monero's price.
Yeah, but will they though? I don't think they will, as in proper This is like another level.
It is a completely different level. Obviously, Monero, you can move anything anywhere. But I mean, it's just that key. It's what people want though, isn't it? It just goes to the fact that privacy goes with crypto, it's hand in hand. But look, folks, that is it for our news this week. We'll be back again next week with no doubt a bunch more news. Until then, stay curious, stay connected. You can do that by joining our Crypto Curious Facebook group. There was a bunch of you that joined this week, so welcome along. And also our Instagram page. Be sure to hit subscribe button wherever you're listening to the podcast right now. And if you're looking to dollar cost average into the crypto market, then have a look at the Bamboo app and use the code Curious for $10 of free Bitcoin to get you started. There's also a link in the show notes below. See you next week. Bye for now.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.